Nope. A new Jordan Peele. Not really a horror thriller, maybe?
I've heard a lot of people refer to it as a sci-fi or mystery.
Yeah, it's definitely a sci-fi. His previous two movies could be called horror thrillers, I suppose. This is not the same genre.
Yeah.
So I did find it difficult comparing this to his other movies, but it sounds like we all liked the movie to varying degrees. Nobody hated it, and we all enjoy Peele's movies. Let's jump into the juicy stuff. The trailer shows the alien. This is an alien abduction-ish movie, and the trailer really leads you to believe that, hey, there's aliens and they're here. And that is what's more or less going on. It could be interdimensional. I'm sure somebody's come up with some Lovecraft stuff or something, but it is a creature, but it's not a ship. The ship is the creature. It's an animal. And we're led to believe that it is.
Entity.
Yeah, it's an alien creature, or maybe interdimensional. I don't know, but it is not of this earth, or at least nothing we've ever seen. But it looks like a spaceship sometimes. That's the big, oh my god, reveal of it all. The big spoiler. It's basically them. Their father dies because stuff falls from the sky, and I think it's a nickel that falls from the sky.
Yeah,
and
he gets
hits him in
embedded
the
with the
head,
nickel.
and it kills him. And they run a horse ranch that does like horse wrangling for Hollywood, and they recognize, hey, there's aliens out here. It's doing stuff. Let's get it on camera. And most of the movie is them just trying to get this thing on camera as Daniel Kaluuya's character slowly figures out that it's not aliens, it's an alien.
Someone brought up the idea of that creature at the end, how it morphs. What if it's like a Rorschach test? What if it's whatever you think it is? Like, it could be a butterfly, Mothra. It could be
That's
something else. I thought it was interesting.
I mean, that is an interesting take on it, that it's what you think it may be. It kind of takes that form on, kind of Ghostbusters Stay Puft Marshmallow thing. I mean, like, they think, there's this stuff in the sky, it's an alien, so they see a ship, and then when he finds out it's an actual creature and he finally looks at it, that's when it turns into this giant alien-looking creature. Maybe you might be totally right. That might be what's going on here. Let's jump right into that big spoiler there, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. We know it's alien, or we think we're told by the movie that it's aliens fairly early on, but the big reveal is a little bit like in the third quarter of the film, a little after the halfway mark. We get the big reveal that it's an alien itself. What did you guys think of that?
I actually really enjoyed it, like the fact that they had to kind of adjust the way that they dealt with it, because it was obviously it's a living creature, it can learn and grow and all that stuff. And even like what happens with Stephen Yeun's character, the fact that he tried to use it as a center attraction to grow his business, and ultimately destroyed him, because it's still a wild animal, it's not, that all the kind of stuff. I appreciated the fact that Daniel Kaluuya's like training did help him in the way of understanding how to deal with this monstrous alien thing.
And what Trip's referencing is Daniel Kaluuya, because he is the trainer of the horses. He tells someone when they're on a set with his trained horse, hey, don't look it in the eye. Don't look the horse in the eye, because that freaks them out and they do so. And apparently that's a lot of animals, and that's a training thing. And he comes to the conclusion that if you don't look at this thing, it'll leave you alone. It won't attack you. I get, sure, okay, that's the movie's lore. It only scoops up people that are looking, or goes after at least people that are looking up at it, that are paying attention to it. So if you're not paying any attention, it'll leave you alone. They use that that defense quite a bit in the movie.
I did really enjoy that concept, and the way that it hid in plain sight, like it was camouflaged. It disguises itself as a cloud, and the only way that they figure it out is you see this time-lapse footage and this one cloud doesn't move. Like, it has all those mannerisms of an animal, and I think that's neat.
I liked all the little details of how they figured some of this stuff out. Yeah, the looking at the ground thing, I don't feel like that would work every time, because I don't think it works every time with animals. I like how they work that in there, and it added something to it.
One of the things I was noticing while watching the movie, the whole scene with the monkey in the TV show, how we disrespect and we abuse and we take for granted the ideas of, you look at, the idea of this creature is where, in essence, you don't respect it, it's going to destroy you. And that's what happens. Like, the Stephen Yeun character, they took for granted the whole situation with him trying to sell it off like a circus attraction. There's more to it, but that is kind of like the underlying theme about what's going on with that creature. Is Daniel Kaluuya sees it with the horse, as we see in the beginning. What makes it really interesting and fascinating is he figures out how to respect and keep himself safe. We get that scene where they're like, we actually see them up in the creature being consumed. It's terrifying.
So the monkey, basically, Stephen Ewan's character runs this attraction right down the way from where Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer's ranch is, and it's kind of like an attraction, a gold rush type of Western attraction. They've been feeding it pretty much and trying to get it to come out so that they can make money off of it. People come take pictures and all that. Now we learned that Stephen Ewan's character used to be a child actor. He was on a Western, and he was also in a sitcom. It's like a sitcom with, like, a mom, dad, brother, sister.
Alf.
But they also have, it's like Alf. They have a monkey named Gordo that is part of the family. And apparently there was the birthday episode where Gordo's birthday, the monkey on set lost its shit and killed or it hurt some people. It went nuts. I think it killed some people. I know it disfigured.
I think it killed 2 and disfigured the 3rd.
Yeah, it disfigured the girl. Stephen Ewan's character made it out alive and physically unscathed, but that's his backstory, and we see that in the very beginning of the movie for a moment, and later in the movie it shows the whole thing where the monkey went ape shit because of some popping balloons. That whole backstory, that whole thing in general, what you're saying, Nick, I guess that could be what it ties to. Me, myself, personally, I enjoyed the scene. I enjoy the backstory of a character, but I didn't really see it as needed. You mentioned bloat a minute ago. You're probably going to educate me here in a minute about like what the deeper relevance of the scene was, but I didn't see the point of it when it came to the main story. I didn't hate the scene. I was fine with it, but at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, did we need that? If that scene wasn't there, if they took that scene totally out, that whole backstory, would the movie have been any better or worse? I don't think so. I don't think it would have lost anything by having it taken out. We needed that much backstory to a character that's just going to get sucked up into this monster like at a show. I mean, I didn't feel like we needed that much from that character.
The monkey, you take a monkey out of its natural setting and you put it in human clothes and expect it to act like a human. And then something primal, like being scared, happens, and then it goes apeshit because it's fight or flight. Everyone in this whole movie kind of has those reactions in the same way. That's kind of where I went with it. I remember in the first trailer, they made such a big deal about the jockey in the very first film. It made for a cool little side thing. I'm like, oh, that's really neat. I'm glad that they pulled from that and brought it to here. I was trying to figure out where else that could sit throughout the thing. I didn't get as much as I thought it was going to. I thought that the alien thing was going to tie back into that a little bit more. I kind of walked out not sure of those things.
The whole idea behind what's going on with that scene when they're on the soundstage with the horse deals with how African Americans, Indian Americans, Asian Americans are treated. And you can look at the whole incident with the monkey as an indictment of an abused individual, like an abused African American individual in the Hollywood system. The fact that it took so long for them to get an Oscar, and the fact that the monkey is destroying white people who are the main group of individuals that get a lot of love from Hollywood. And you see the monkey actually put his palm out to the Asian young kid, the Stephen Yeun as a kid. Like, the mistreatment of the horse is the same thing. You look at that sphere that they used and they put it up to the horse, it's showing the disrespect of the actors. They're disrespecting Daniel Kaluuya because his father's dead. They're disrespecting Keke Palmer's character. They're disrespecting this group of individuals, and that's why Daniel Kaluuya's character looks so despondent, because he goes in there and he's like trying to explain to him about the horse and they're not listening to him. And it's the same thing with like the monkey situation. There's also dealing with, like I said, the whole monkey, the indictment of like how African Americans are treated in the Hollywood system. That's what the main thrust of that whole scene is trying to do. Is Keke Palmer's character comes in and talks about, nobody knew, I didn't even know that's actually a true story. Yeah. This guy was the first person to be filmed. You never hear about that, but I think that's what Jordan Peele's trying to insinuate. Is it's like in Get Out with the whole idea of like white people trying to be like black people. There's more to it than that, but that's what I gathered while I was watching it.
And that's great. That's cool. I'm
yeah,
to give it,
I know
that puts it into context. If that be the case, I more understand the reasoning behind that scene now. What its meaning was. And I suppose maybe the overall meaning of the movie definitely probably goes into that, knowing Jordan Peele and like where his movies usually go. The movie is still about this big fucking alien and these people. Does it really
it's about it's
should it still be there? I mean, I understand its relevance, and I think that's a it's a powerful message, and like what what he's doing there. I get that, but would it take away from the movie if that whole subplot was taken out? Not the subplot, but just that part.
Yeah. That's where I got into the whole Jordan Peele's up his ass thing.
I'm with you there. I think it could possibly be that, head up your ass a little bit. Once again, I enjoyed the scene, but when I think about the movie as a whole, I'm like, I don't really think it needed to be there, because while we're talking about respecting animals, respecting cultures, respecting this, you need to respect your audience too. And you're telling a story, and while you do have a message you're wanting to tell, if telling said message comes at the expense of the movie as a whole, you gotta wonder, do I need to tell this part of the message if it's going to take away from the movie, this overall story I'm telling you? Because it kind of stopped the movie to say, okay, stop the movie, message, and we go for a few minutes, and then we get back into the rest of the movie. Even if the rest of the movie does somewhat go along with that message a bit, it seemed a bit out of place.
That's why I like Get Out so much, because it has that message in there, but it doesn't stop the movie. It doesn't have that whole scene with the monkey, and but yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It really is. I don't know.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, the subtext you told us about, so that does give me more understanding of that scene, but I still don't think that it needed to be there, honestly. It's weird, because it's one of those weird scenes that I liked it, because they set up this intrigue about what happened there. So I liked seeing it, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was needed. Now, I want to say, there is something in that scene that I kept focusing on. There's a shoe. I think it's the girl's shoe in the middle of the room. And it is in the second time they show it, it is more focused on for a moment. It's a shoe sitting there that is standing up straight, and it should not stand there. There's no way it could land that way. You couldn't make a shoe stay that way. That's what kept making me think, does this tie to the alien? Is the alien somehow making this monkey go? What's going on? What is up with the fucking shoe? I honestly don't fucking know.
I was trying to figure that out too, because Steven Yeun, he has like a hidden like museum thing of all of the leftover paraphernalia from the movie. It was there too in the background.
Oh, was it? I didn't see that. And see, that's the thing about Jordan Peele. He is one of those directors, a lot of the stuff in the background means something. So I was just curious as to what was up with that fucking shoe? It's one of those things that's just like, I do like when movies do this where it like leaves like little threads for you to pull on. But that whole scene though is just kind of like, I don't know why the scene was there. But the shoe thing, like you said, I didn't realize it was in that museum too. It had a purpose, and they focus on it that second time. It is in such a way that does not make sense. And I don't understand what it was there for. I'd really be curious to know what that was.
One potential meaning behind the shoe standing up could be the movie's exploration of spectacle and bad miracles. When siblings OJ and M. Haywood realize that they are dealing with UFO, OJ labels it as a bad miracle. As amazing as the uncovering of alien presence is, the phenomenon comes at a horrible cost, since the UFOs dispelling waves killed their father and continue to wreak havoc upon the town. The shoe standing up in Nope could be also seen as a bad miracle, given the unexplainable nature of the phenomenon and how it happened during a tragedy. It plays into the movie's theme of turning tragic into spectacle, as Ricky is profiting off the collectible despite the trauma of his circumstances.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, monkey. There's a monkey scene. Monkey goes, ape shit, and kills and maims some people. One more thing I want to talk about spoiler-wise. It's a giant monster. It turns into like this weird, like, it doesn't even make sense. Like its look and everything is like but it is extraterrestrial. It never explains that. I'm okay with that, I guess. The ending of the movie, the very end of the movie, the way they kill this thing, Keke Palmer's character releases this giant float into the air. It consumes this giant float. Then I guess it crushes this float within it, and the float explodes and pops the monster. As it happens, it just goes up in the air like that, because the movie does have a streak of comedy through it. We're expecting this big huge like spectacle there in the end, and that was just kind of like a joke, like, because it just kind of went out with like a off in the background, and then that killed it. I feel like that defeating the monster, that was kind of a joke unto itself.
It's just kind of like
it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be, but it also doesn't have that twist that I was looking forward to. And that may have been a misdirect too. He's making you think there's going to be this big twisty kind of thing at the end of the movie, and there's just not really. So maybe that was part of it as well. Maybe it's all by design. But at the end of the movie, while I still enjoyed the movie, I don't care if it was by design or not. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, it popped. Credits. All right.
Okay. So Frisch's big boy killed
I thought big boy too.
Creature. Yeah.
I don't know what I was looking for exactly, but I don't know, it didn't quite give it to me. It was fine. The ending was good, but I wanted it to be great.
Boy, this guy loves his social commentary. It's like it bleeds like like hardcore on the screen. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think you might be onto something that maybe it's like he went a little bit too hard into it, where trying to get that obscure message across at times in the movie came at the detriment of the overall story he was trying to tell too. Because that's good social commentary, is when it's ingrained, interwoven into a bigger story, and you put the subtext in there. It ceases to be subtext if it becomes the forefront of the story, which at times I felt like the story stopped and said, hey, by the way, this. And you're like, and it fits into the story, but you're like, what's going on here? But still, overall, I did enjoy the movie. I was overall satisfied. Were there any other spoilery things that we missed? I mean, really, that are big spoilers? I think we touched on all of them.
Michael Wincott being abducted.
I did think that because when he gets sucked up with that camera, I figured that was going to work its way into the end, because he went up there with the camera. I figured it was going to shit out the camera, because, it eats people and then it shits out all the unorganic stuff. I figured they were going to find that camera and see something about the inside of it, and that's how they were going to figure out more about it or how to defeat it. So I felt like that was a wasted opportunity. I mean, that's just where my mind went.
When the UFO shits all over the house, I cracked up something fierce, and I was the only one in the theater, but I could not stop laughing at that. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but oh my god, I laughed way too hard at that.
Why it eats the organic stuff, but it started shitting it out all over the house. It's like it was pissed off, and it was like, "I'll shit on your fucking house." It's like the Amber Heard of aliens. Is this an asshole alien? It's a movie, like I said. I think it's worth seeing for sure. It's an entertaining movie, but there's a few parts I'm just like, could have cut that. I think Nick said it both best, that there's some bloat that could have been cut away. So that's Nope. Spoiler review. Ending explained. Spoiler discussion. Whatever I decide to call this, I don't know. Spoilers!